Hello, mixtresses and mixters. This is mixtressrae, and you're watching Mixtress video. It's time for Physical Media Collection Part 3, The Records. Okay, so I took them all out. They normally live on a shelf, but I took them all out for display purposes for you guys today. So I'm going to be setting them. I don't know what I'm doing. As per usual, I don't know what I'm doing. Niblet is right there. She could come into the shot at any moment. So hopefully you'll get to see her. And okay, cool. Let's do this. Okay, these are all in alphabetical order by artist, and then chronological order by album, if I do have more than one from a particular artist. Okay, so I used to be very, very, very obsessed with Tori Amos. This is this is the only record of hers that I've ever had, and it did survive the tornado. It has been through a lot. It's like a special edition clear vinyl. I have almost gotten rid of this a few times. There have been times where I needed money and I thought, hey, I might actually be able to make some money off of this, but it is very damaged. So yeah. That is still to this day one of my favorite albums of hers. It might be my number 2. Okay. I almost have a complete Fiona Apple record collection. I think I'm only missing one. So, this is Tidal. Her debut album, which is still my favorite. I think Fiona herself would be disappointed in hearing that, but I need to stop taking it away. Okay. Let me get better at this already. Okay. And then I have her second album, Win the Pawn. What I'm missing is her third album, Extraordinary Machine, but I do have Idler Wheel and Fetch the Bolt Cutters. This one is Michael's. It's Beach House, I think. Yeah. Kate Bush, unfortunately, I only have 2 from her. But they are my top 2. Okay, I already need to readjust, don't I? Took me forever to set this shot up, and it's going to constantly need to be readjusted. The Dreaming, I used to think that The Dreaming was my favorite, but I think Hounds of Love is actually my favorite, but Dreaming is very, very close second. I don't have the cover here to Hounds of Love because, as you've seen in the background of other videos of mine, I have my cover of Hounds of Love. It's actually, I can see it right now, but you can't. It's hung up on the wall. I did just learn, I'm reading a book about Kate Bush's Hounds of Love right now, and I just learned that these 2 Weimaraners featured on the cover are named Bonnie and Clyde, and they belonged to her family. So they were like her family's Weimaraners. Don't curl up on the records, my darling. This is one of my top 5 albums of all time. It might even be... My cats are fighting. They are fighting. Okay, guys. Can you be civil, please? For the video? For appearances? Anyway, this is one of my favorite albums of all time. Chibomado. And it's an orange vinyl. Ooh. It's almost silly for somebody like me to have a vinyl collection because, I mean, I do have a turntable, but I really don't put on records that often. You know, I didn't grow up I mean, I did grow up around record players and using record players, but my primary method of listening to music growing up was cassettes. So I just, I don't have as many record related memories as someone like even 5 years older than me would have. So it's almost laughable to me looking at my record collection. Like, most of my records were given to me by my parents, or hand-me-downs from my parents. So, you'll hear a lot of that. But my Cure records are all mine. Neither of my parents listened to The Cure. I discovered them on my own. This one I really like because it has 2 albums in it, 17 Seconds and Faith. Low price 2 record set, Happily Ever After. I don't know, this just feels like one of those things that's just silly and specific and special. So it feels special. It does say on the back, for promotional use only, not for sale. Little good that ever did, right? This is my favorite Cure record of all time. This one is an underappreciated Cure record. I think, is it great? Is it, one of their best? No. But it's better than people say it is. And mine is gold. Or, bronzy. Disintegration, of course. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wonderful. Another thing that, is laughable about, record collections is that I know too much. Basically, back in, I don't know, a lot of record plants, that make records, the machinery, a lot of the, or do they call them plants? I don't know. What the production companies that make records, a lot of them shut down in I'm sure it happened somewhat gradually, but in the 80s and 90s, a lot of them shut down. And then a few of them sort of reopened in the 2010s. But the people that were operating this super old machinery didn't know how to repair it, didn't know how to operate it properly. So essentially, there's an era of records that just aren't very fucking good. And a lot of the ones that I own are from that era. This is a good example of that. At some point there was another turning point where records started to get good quality again, but yeah, all the ones that are a special color, I want to show you. This one's red. Ooh. And just the fact that I'm pointing out the ones that are a special color just shows you that I don't properly play my records. I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about what color they are, which is dumb. So my record collection is extremely static. I don't have plans to get any more. In fact, I don't really have any more space in the place where I keep them, and I don't plan to make more space for them because there has been one record on my turntable for the entire year of 2024. And before that, this one was on my player for the year before that. And not because I'm playing it a lot, but because I played it and then left it there. So it's, I'm not going to do anything with these. I'm going to let them live in my house. This is a message to my future self because I know I'm going to be watching this back going, why do I even have records? I should get rid of them all right now, right? I always go through so many fucking existential crises whenever I post these collection videos. Okay, time for my Depeche Mode. Some Great Reward. This is a good record. Black Celebration. Also good. This one I think was my dad's. I don't know. This looks like a re-release. Any reissue. Yeah, this is 2007, so this wouldn't have been my dad's. Some Great Reward might have been. Maybe none of these were my dad's. Because these all seem like more recent reissues. Anyway, oh my god. Speaking of songs of faith and devotion. This one I have had the CD in my car for like 2 weeks. Just listening to it over and over again. Just letting it start over. No skips. I mean, so fucking good. My current favorite track from this is Judas. Maybe I'll, set this aside and actually put it on the turntable today. What do you think, Niblet? Should we listen to records later? Devo. Really the only Devo song I care about, I mean, Whip It is a good time. It's fun, of course. But the one that I love is Girl You Want, because it's the song in the opening credits of Tank Girl. Okay, I am going to actually move these back to where they live, because I'm not wanting to make huge stacks. Because I know you're not supposed to stack up records, but that's probably just for storage, right? It doesn't really matter, does it? Okay. All right. So now maybe I can just... Oh. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Now we get into the Brian Eno category. This one was either my mom's or my dad's. I'm not sure. They both had a copy of this, I think. My dad, before he died, he sort of presented me with his records in kind of a, hey, take what you want, because, I'm not going to be around kind of situation. So I did take a bunch of his. So I'm not sure exactly which ones used to be his, but Brian Eno is a favorite in our family. Not only my mom and dad passed it to me, but Michael also really loves Brian Eno as well. So this is probably my favorite of his albums, Before and After Science. And there's Another Green World. And we have Ambient 1, Music for Airports, which is like, I think maybe the first ambient record ever. But ours is like a reissue. And then we have Ambient 4, On Land. But anyway, it's just hilarious that someone like me even has a record collection, because, most of my favorite music doesn't, I was born in 1982. Most of my favorite music is from the 80s up to now, and the 80s is kind of when the quality of records started to drop off. Like, if you're going to get a really great sounding record, it's going to be like pre-80s, and I don't really even have anything from that era. But at the same time, I also question all of that kind of stuff, because human beings don't actually have that much of an ability to discern quality differences in sound. Like, you've heard that study a million times of like people not really being able to tell the difference between like 128 kilobits a second and lossless. Like, a lot of the time people can't fucking tell. You can compress the shit out of music and people can't tell. So what am I talking about? Like, why am I acting like I'm a freaking music snob here? I'm not a fucking audiophile. This one's Michael's, Fever Ray. I mean, I like it, but this is a perfect example of a thing that doesn't need to be on record, Oh my god. So I'm not trying to like be judgy of people that like to buy records now. And people that are pressing vinyl, they're probably doing their best. I mean, if I put any of these on, it's not like it would sound bad to me. But you know what I miss? Okay. This is an example. So when I first got this Goldfrapp album, Head First, it was the year it came out, which is 2010. it came with like a poster. I don't have that anymore, but I think it did come with a poster. It came with like a digital download and all this stuff, and I think that should be a given these days. If someone is buying a vinyl, like they're going to be paying more for it. Like in many cases, if you see new vinyl, it's like $35. So, and sometimes you can't even be guaranteed, and it doesn't even say on the front, like you need like a sticker that says includes digital download or whatever, because like what's the point? I mean, I guess the point in their mind is everybody's streaming shit anyway, so it doesn't matter. But if somebody's going to go through the extra effort to buy an expensive ass vinyl, shouldn't it come with a digital download? I mean, I know a lot of them still do, but some of them don't. And you don't know. Like, I've wanted to buy vinyl online a couple of times in the last year, but it doesn't like say in the description if it comes with a digital download. And it's like, do I really have to buy this album twice? Come on. This one's Michael's. It is fun to look through vinyls though, because I love the wear patterns that you get. I mean, part of this is to appreciate the physical objects that I have in my life, right? So I should be a little bit less cranky about it. Grimes. I really had a love affair with Grimes back whenever I first discovered her. She, as a person, has really disappointed me in the last few years. I think any of you hearing my voice will know why, but you know. This is not the album of Offerhase that I grew up with, but I saw this somewhere and I was just like, oh my god, I have to have it. I have to have some Offerhase record. And my god, look at this face. She's just incredible. Her voice, if you've never heard her, look her up. Not a lot of her stuff is on streaming. I mean, maybe you can find, probably you can still find it, but world beat ethnopop. Gotta find a way to introduce this to the white people, right? This one, I don't know. It could have been my dad's, might have been my mom's, not sure. The first two Heart albums. This is an example of a record that probably actually is a quality record. Like quality pressing. Little Queen. I love this album cover. This is my next stack. I'm gonna go put back on the shelf. Ugh, don't look at my ratchet ass slippers when I walk by. Ugh. I just ordered a new pair online because mine are falling apart. But they were a gift from a friend, so I'm grateful. I got to use them for a couple years. This one's Michael's. I mean, my favorite part of having a record, I guess I should say, is being able to get out when it does have like the lyrics and the liner notes. And the artwork. You know, being able to see the artwork big and look at the lyrics. It's the experience, right? Anyone that loves vinyl, loves records, it's the experience. It's not necessarily like, I would argue that even though people say the sound quality's better, blah, 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 is it really? I mean, in many cases, the sound is much louder with a record, so it makes you think it's better. But this is a local band. Actually, like one of the members of this band lives 4 doors down from me. He's my neighbor. And I love that they signed it. Eat a fuck. Sincerely, Dan. Don't eat Dan's fuck. Don't. This is my favorite. Oh my god. I love it. This one's probably Michael's. I do like that album, though. This album got me through Dallas traffic. It was one of the only times in my life I ever had to drive through Dallas by myself. And that is not a situation that I want to do. But one of the times I was... Why is this sticky? Oh, something got spilled on this. Okay, I have to set this aside so I can clean it off. But anyway, I played Silent Shout while I was driving through Dallas traffic once when I was in my 20s, and it got me through. It got me through. This is Michael's, Mars Volta, I think. This was the album that was on the turntable during the tornado. It's a big, like, there's 3 or 4 vinyls in here, and the one that was on the turntable did not survive. It's actually hanging on my wall. It's a piece of art now, but yeah, this one was pretty heavily damaged. But this is Massive Attack Legoland. And it includes a bunch of extra remixes and stuff on it as well. But it is like, if I try to unfold this, it's, I mean, you guys can't see that, but it's just covered in insulation, and, you know. There's this weird thing that I have. I wonder if other, like, disaster survivors have this, where, like, there was a lot of stuff in my life that I was able to save, thankfully. And, you know, of course, you clean it off, and you make it pristine again. But there are some things that I refused to touch. There are a few things that I let stay covered in tornado. It was like, it's like some weird sense of reminding myself what I've been through. As if I could forget, right? There's some things I refuse to clean the tornado off of, and it makes no sense. It's kind of like how I refuse to clean some of my dead dog's fur off of the inside of the CD binders. You know, I have these, like, weird... It's like a hoarder mentality, right? Because I've seen episodes of, like, hoarder-type documentaries where, like, someone will not be vacuuming the fur off of their stairs because they feel like that's letting go of their dog, you know, and it sounds fucking crazy. But when you are the one having those thoughts, it sounds reasonable. Oh my god. Mazzy Star. Such a good album. My friend Ruben and I last night were talking about how we miss Mazzy Star. Nirvana Unplugged. So good. I mean, I think if this album hadn't existed, if this performance didn't happen, I would not necessarily think of myself as a Nirvana fan. Like, this is the album that makes me a Nirvana fan. I mean, I had heard all the songs on the radio growing up, of course, and I liked a lot of them, but I don't think I started buying Nirvana albums. This was my entry point into Nirvana, truly. A friend of mine had played me the illustrated book about birds. That one. Is that Plateau? A friend had played me that song when we were in, like, I don't know, middle school or something. And I loved it. Because, yeah, I was only 11 years old when Kurt Cobain died. So, you know, like, I knew of him, but I wasn't, like, obsessed with Nirvana or anything at the time that he died. Gary Newman, Telecon. This one isn't even, like... I don't actually know that many songs on this album, but it was one that I had access to, so I got it. And, like, how perfect is this, like, floating head imagery? I just love this cover. And this is my like sort of limited edition, 245 out of 300. And it's a red vinyl. Look at that. I have several red vinyls apparently. But this is just like some random amount of songs. Like a few of them are live. This one is my favorite on the whole thing, which is a live version of Dark, which my favorite Gary Newman album is called Exile. Came out in the late 90s. And my favorite version of it is Exile Extended, which is like every song is like 8 minutes long, which I love. This one is Michael's. It maybe used to belong to my dad. I mean, I think of it as Michael's because I don't care enough to keep Pink Floyd around, and Michael does. So there's Dark Side of the Moon. Is this one Wish You Were Here? Yes. Wish You Were Here. And then we have Metal, which is like much later in Pink Floyd's discography, but what a pretty cover. Okay, next stack I'm taking over. Yeah. I don't know like how I even fit all of that on there. I feel like I'm gonna have to stuff it back on the shelf. Okay. This is probably my actual favorite album of all time. Of all time. Portishead Dummy. It's just no skips. No skips. And then Portishead's self-titled, which I think is their second album. It's gotta be. God, albums just get grungy. I mean, this one probably did survive the tornado, so that's fair. And then we have a bunch of Radiohead albums. They're all Michael's. Amnesiac. I do like Radiohead, but I came to Radiohead in a strange way. Like, I sort of like heard all of them at once. So in my mind, like, I don't necessarily know like what comes from which album. This is the really jazzy one, isn't it? Hail to the Thief. I could be wrong. I think Amnesiac is one of the ones I do really like. I know I like most of In Rainbows. And King of Limbs, I don't know if that one holds up. I liked it at the time, but I've tried to listen to it again somewhat recently, and I'm like, nah, I don't know about this one. I definitely have some Tom York fatigue. Okay, now we get into the Roxy music. I have a lot of Roxy music. What do I have? 5. That rivals everybody else, I think. This is the debut. Roxy music has like the best covers. This one was probably my dad's, I think. And then Stranded. No, this is For Your Pleasure. Wow. Black cat on my shoulder, this long night on edge. This is Stranded. Speaking of, like, some of these, yeah, this one has it. This is a huge fold-out poster of the cover, which is pretty fucking cool. Someday maybe I'll be putting that on the wall. I don't have the poster for... Yes, I do. I must have had to rebuy this after the tornado. Because this... this is my favorite Roxy Music album, Country Life. And I had a copy of this before the tornado. And actually, when Michael and I got married, we got married in our backyard. And we had this big living space at the back of the house that we called our music room. So a lot of people were hanging out in that area during, like, you know, the reception, because we had a bonfire after the wedding. So, like, you know, people were hanging out in the back room, hanging out in the kitchen, because everybody always hangs out in the kitchen during parties, right? So during our wedding, at one point, my grandma's drinking what she says was her first champagne ever. She's drinking champagne. She's standing in front of this poster telling me this is her first. So we had this poster of these, you know, very naked women on the wall. My grandma's not even commenting on it. Maybe she didn't even notice it. I just have this image in my mind of my grandma at my wedding telling me she's drinking champagne for the first time, and she was in a good mood, standing in front of this poster. Manifesto. This one has become one of my favorites in recent years. I think these are all, like, mannequins. Yeah, they are. Yeah. And then I have a couple of Christmas albums that alphabetically by artist, they just happen to be right next to each other. So I've got a very She and Him Christmas. I do enjoy She and Him doing a Christmas song. And then Squirrel Nut Zipper's Christmas Caravan. Which mostly holds up, except there's one song that's like, you gotta skip it. Anyway. This one is, oh my god. Let's just read the cover. Star Trek, 3 exciting new complete stories. So this would be like, you know, narrative, like radio style stories. I don't know if I've ever listened to it. I found it at like an estate sale or garage sale or something, I think. I don't think this one used to be my dad's. Maybe it was. I really don't know. Because, you know, he died the same year as the tornado, so it's like, it's all a blur. I don't really know which ones came from him. It's possible this used to be my dad's, but anyway, point is, I don't think I've ever listened to it, but I did used to have it framed on the wall for many years, just because I enjoyed looking at this image. God, I just hate hearing myself say shit like that. Like, I'm not using these records in the way that they're intended. I just enjoy looking at them. Gross. Anyway. This one for sure was my dad's. Well, actually, it might have been my mom's. They had very similar record collections. And my mom still keeps most of her records, so most likely these did come from my dad. Because I doubt my mom would have given me Remain in Light. Fear of Music, with the actual, like, textured cover. So good. I love how minimal this all is. You know? It just says Talking Heads, Fear of Music. It's the only thing it says on the front. And then on the back it just says, produced by Brian Eno and Talking Heads. And then, of course, there's stuff in fine print there, but gorgeous. This is the actual copy from my childhood of Tears for Fears songs from the big chair. I'm pretty sure. And I just have one isolated memory of listening to this, which is that I skipped school one day, and then I listened to Shout from this record. I just put it on, and I would just like, because I think it's the first one. Yeah, it's the first one of side A. And I would just put it on and then restart it and then restart it and then restart it all day long listening to Shout. And it was like my I'm not at school anthem. Sarah Vaughan. This one, I had the CD first. And I think I specifically sought this out, or else maybe I just saw it somewhere and I was like, no, this is my Sarah Vaughan. This is the collection of Sarah Vaughan songs that I know because I was familiar with the CD since I had it for so long. So I bought it on record. It's one of my only fucking jazz albums too. That's kind of sad. Not doing that. Not doing that. See, the danger of me doing these fucking collection videos is that I see holes in my collection, and I don't want to see holes. So I'm not letting myself go down that. I'm not letting myself make a fucking wish list. I don't need a wish list for records. Okay, last one. This is actually my newest... Oh no, it's not the last one. Sorry, Chelsea Wolfe was behind that. This is my latest record acquisition, actually. La Traviata. This is my favorite opera. I haven't listened to this yet to see if this is a version that I love, but, you know, I don't have that discerning of taste, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Not to say that this is bad, but, like, if it were bad, would I notice? Is all I'm saying. This is sentimental because the teen librarian at the library where I work, she died in this last year. She died in 2024. And we got to be the lucky recipients of... She was probably actually really a hoarder. Like a clean hoarder, but a hoarder. She had so much stuff, and like over the months after she died, like we were offered... Like those of us that work at the library were offered a lot of her stuff that we could just take for free. And this was one of the only things I took. So this used to belong to beloved teen librarian at our library. And so it's special to have. And I have, you know, my own particular memories with La Traviata. And yeah, it's special. It's special. So that and this are the only two records I acquired in 2024. One that did not come with a fucking digital download, but I'm like so Chelsea Wolfe pilled that I gladly paid for this vinyl and also bought the digital album as well, because I have to have it on my fucking iPod, come on. And this one did come with like a fold out poster, and it's like a blue vinyl. She does, like, her record company does the whole thing where like you could get this album in like, there were several different color options, limited edition color options, and I got the one that was only available at record stores since I was doing my online no-buy last year. So I got the one that you can get at record stores, which was the blue vinyl. Feel sad for bastards that feel like they need to collect all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, this was shorter than my other videos in the series so far. Yeah, anyway. Thank you for watching. That was weird. It's so intimate. It is so intimate to, like, share my record collection. I don't know how I feel about any of this. Like, so the next one in the series, I'm probably gonna do cassettes. That is going to be the most intimate of all, because most of my cassettes are either they used to belong to my dad, or they are my own personal mixes, which feel personal to me because that's how I deal with my emotions, is I make mixes. So even though it's not going to be emotional for anyone else watching it, they're going to be like, okay, this is a collection of somebody's fucking mixtapes, who cares, right? But for me, it's going to be emotional looking at them, you know? Not that I don't look at them on a regular basis. I actually do still listen to tapes somewhat frequently, even though I don't really listen to records that much. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Very, very weird that I even have a record collection, but I do.